Hey guys, Sarah with 3 Raptor Consulting here, and I wanted to talk to you today about pivoting. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite topics because we know about pivoting from a lot of sporting events in a lot of areas in life, and this is how to apply it to your professional life. So, the way that I first learned about pivoting and what really helps me get that really good visual image in my head of what pivoting is in a professional world is in playing basketball. So I love to play basketball, I love to play softball, love to box, not any good at any of them, but I love to be out there and be physically active, right? And so when you pivot in basketball, that means that you've got one foot stationary, but you have another foot that you can pivot around with while you hold the ball. So you can only move in basketball if you're dribbling the ball, right? But if you stop and hold it, you have to pivot that one foot, lock that one foot in, and then you can pivot around with the other. And I mean, you could do a whole 360-degree spin if you got all the way around, but you have to hold that ball, right? So that's what pivoting in your professional life is. So I want you to think about it. You're going along, you're doing your thing, you're doing your 1 or 2 daily activities every day on your journey that's going to lead you to that end path that you want to be at, right? So we're working towards that end goal. We've set up this whole strategic plan, this whole strategic map where we are taking those 1 or 2 steps every day, so it's not overwhelming, but we know we're doing positive things to move forward every single day towards those goals. And as we're moving along, that's us dribbling the ball. All of a sudden we stop and we hit this roadblock, right? So all of a sudden our path is blocked. We can't dribble forward to the basket any longer. And that could be any number of things. Now remember, you can call it a roadblock, you can call it a challenge, you can call it an obstacle. And anything can be that. It can be all of a sudden you lost momentum, or something happened and you have to alter your course, or a door closed in your face, right? So what that means is you're holding that end goal. I want you to think of your end goal as the basketball, and you're holding it, and you're holding it tight so the other team can't get it. I want you to think of that other team as all those haters, the people who are like, you can't do it, I'm gonna take that dream away from you. And I want you to hold that tight, and you're gonna plant your foot on your journey. And the reason that you're planting your foot and you're holding it there tight is because you're like, no, I'm not getting off this path, man. I am not getting off this path. I'm gonna figure out how to get around that roadblock. Now remember, I have a very adventurous spirit, so I like to call them my adventures. So I'm standing there holding my dream, right? And I'm like, nope, you're not going to get this away from me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to figure out how to get through this adventure. And so you pivot, and sometimes you pivot to the right, sometimes you pivot to the left. Sometimes you have to pivot all the way around so that you can see every potential perspective, every potential opportunity. Sometimes what pivoting means too, especially if it's close to the end of the day or the end of the week, it means taking a 5-minute break. It means taking a time out, drinking a glass of water, going for a walk, clearing your head. Or if it's really close to the end of the day, sometimes that means going to bed, right? Now, I'm not talking about giving up on your dream. I'm not even talking about taking a pause or a real time out. I'm talking about taking just that 9-second time out to catch your breath. So remember, you get 9 seconds to catch your breath. Now that might mean you go home, you drink a lot of water, you go for a walk, you eat a really good dinner, and then you make sure you get a really good night's sleep. That's a 9-second time out, people, to catch your breath so that the next morning when you get up, you are 110% ready to go back into that game. You've got your dream, you're right back in that same place, and you're pivoting. And all of a sudden, when you pivot, you're like, oh, that's the way out. That's the answer. That's the solution. Or, oh, that's who I can partner with to finish this goal. So when you pivot, you are locking yourself into that journey. You are declaring for the entire world, I don't care what you throw at me, I'm not giving up my journey. You're holding your dream as tight as you can to you, and you're pivoting until you find that solution to get over, under, around, trailblaze, whatever you have to do to get over that. Now, your dream could be something as far as like entrepreneurship, owning a business, becoming a public speaker, or as a leader within your organization, you might be pivoting to lead your team. Now, if you are leading people and people are watching you, which people watch everything that you do, it's even more important that you really plant that foot in and that you really hold that dream while you pivot. Because people are going to remember that you held that and you pivoted until you found a way to lead them through that adventure. Right? So that's what pivoting is. It's having the ability to be adaptable. It's having the ability to stop, to recognize that there's an obstacle, to figure out what got you there, why that obstacle is there, and to find a solution. It's all about catching your breath. Now, I can't give you a timeline on how long it's going to take you to find a solution. Sometimes you find a solution the next day. Sometimes it takes a year to find a solution. But it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. The universe knows the timing that we need to be on. And if it takes you a year to find that way around that solution, That's because that year is preparing you, it's making you stronger, it's teaching you something, it's getting you to a place that you need to be to face that adversity. But it doesn't mean that your journey's over, because your journey's never over, right? We might think we have our timeline, and I want you to have your timeline. The universe is going to mess with that just a little bit so that we're on their timeline. Because I'll tell you, I was talking to one of my mentors the other day that we're getting ready to do a big leadership summit thing on. And I was like, dude, I am so ready. I'm ready to just break free. I am so tired of feeling held back. And he looked at me and he was like, what do you mean held back? You're a published author. You own a couple businesses. You're doing great. What do you mean held back? I was like, well, that's how I feel. And I'm just ready to let loose and just hit the world really hard. And he just laughed and he's like, remember timing. Remember how the universe works. And I thought, you know what? That is how the universe works. Because right now, I have a high school senior. My focus has been on my daughter and getting her ready for life. Doesn't mean I've given up on my dream, but it means when she gets to college, mom can break loose, right? Mom can just go full force. So it's understanding that sometimes we're finishing certain things up in our life. It's understanding that we have so much to learn, so many things to develop, and it means that we're getting ready to face that adventure head on. But never, never lift that foot up from where you've pivoted. Pivot around, learn as much as you can. Take in the area, learn who your competitors are, and go. So I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it excites you, and I hope that you add pivoting to your daily routines, because the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. So I practice it when I cook, I practice it with my dogs, I practice pivoting all the time, and honestly, it's a muscle, and so the more I practice it, the better I get at it. So use it all the time, pivot, and pretty soon you're not even going to realize that you're doing that. Have a great day.